Hey everyone, Jay here. Welcome back to another video where I'm actually in the video. Shocker. And no one's here, which is a little strange. But I wanted to make this video because recently I've been uploading a little bit of this build here I've been working on for a while. I'm kind of just calling it the schoolhouse for now, but I'd like to give you a little rundown of how we got to this iteration of it. Because as you may have seen in some of the other videos, there are different versions of this one and even completely different schools. So, on that note, let's get to it. So, first starting off here at the schoolhouse you've been working on, we're going to take and fly past this one and head to this one way over here. So, as we fly over there quickly, you'll notice that this one has a lot less structure, I guess you could call it, than the other ones over there. This was actually my first iteration of this schoolhouse. As you can tell, the size is quite massive, which is one reason why I ended up switching down to a smaller school later, but you'll see that later. But this one has a setup for a high school and middle school up top, and then down below, a full elementary. So you could actually have all of the area used. But this one doesn't have too many things added to it. This was mostly just me building. I think this one took me 2.5, 3 days to get it laid out and in the state that you see it here, which isn't very good. It's not a very good state, but it did give me an idea of kind of what I was aiming for. And if you see anything in this video, feel free to pause and replicate yourself. This is just me fiddling around with what little free time I have. So if you see something you want to use in your build, like, I don't know, maybe this pillar here, feel free to pause it, calculate what blocks you may need, and try and replicate it. Change the scale, change its size, feel free to do whatever you need. Or keep it exactly the same. But with that, it's kind of bare bones here. So I'll meet you over at the next one. So here we are at the next iteration. As you can see, this now exists, this big box, and I'll show you exactly what that is in a minute. But we have more structure, not so much over here, but as you'll see when we fly into it, there is a lot more. And if you want to know where this is in relative to the other builds, that is the school we're working on. So this is over in this direction here. It's the closest one of the last big builds. But as you can see, this is all finalized. Through here, I started planning out this was going to be a giant auditorium with a big old stage probably over there, I was thinking. But I didn't really get there because as you'll see, this is a quite a large build and I just wasn't ready to do something this large. So maybe I'll return to it in the future. And if you'd love to see that in a video, I would be more than willing to do it. But as you can see, this is kind of how my building works, is I lay out a basic structure of the building, and then I come by with these birch signs, and I just label where everything goes. So clock, railings across here. I didn't really have any railing designs. I had a few. I don't think I had any on these. No, these ones were solid stairs. As you can see here, I already know what's on the sign. I'll show you, but these are the lockers. It's going to line lockers up each side of the wall. Quite a large building. Here, I wanted to do a giant cafeteria. Just giant, tons of tables. I think that's what this says. Sandstone. Oh no, I guess I wanted to add pillars. It's been a while since I've actually worked in here. This was going to be the kitchen area. Little window. I don't know how many schools had this. but it's like a little, almost, it did have a counter. It's like a, for lack of a better term, a drive-through window, basically, but you don't pay for your food. Here's the front entrance completed. It was going to have a big desk here. Here, I really do like this, and I would love to implement this somewhere in the other building, but there's just no room. You'd be down here walking, and up here there'd be like a little seating area, like a little book rack over here. Not the library, but a little book rack, some seats, some bushes, and then a nice little glass handrail. I really do kind of like that idea, and I'd love to implement it in the other side, but I'm not sure how I'll do it, or if I'll even have room to do it. Back here, more office. And then here is actually what I was really love is on these bigger scale models. I can do all this detailing work. And I know it's not perfect detailing work. I mean, I'm just putting stairs and slabs where I think it looks good, but these giant and massive hallways that kind of, I don't know if I, this is why I kind of quit because I have so much space in the hallway that you end up losing out on some of the detail that you'd want to give a build like this. Because, yeah, you could fill it with lockers, but then it's just huge still. I mean, think you got the locker space itself here, and then you'd have a door on front of it. So you're only out to here. You still got huge amounts of space. And that's what I just didn't know what to do with, which is one reason why I downsized. But here, as you could tell, I ended up moving. The other one had the gym here. It would flush with that line there, so we'll actually fly over. So this was the flush line here. It would actually come and end here. That's what the other one over there looks like. But I ended up extending it so I could get a bigger gym, which ended up being too big. You know, very good at overkilling. But I had more lockers. I had locker rooms. Not much in these locker rooms, and as you can tell, I didn't finish them completely, but that's mostly because I just ran out of ideas on how to fill space and cavities. This here is a good explanation of what I'm doing, even in the new building, but instead of having this air pocket, it's actually flush with this one. This is how I'm doing my construction builds, is I have a minimum 2 block where you'd have the ceiling from the last level and then the floor for the next one. I'm calling it a sandwich. There might be a actual official term for it, but I never learned it. And that's just what I end up calling it. But now, let's get into the first iteration of the small one. So here we are on the smaller build. Now, I wanted to downsize because, like I said, I ended up having way more space than what I accounted for. But I ended up with something like this. I went on Google Maps and I found some older style schoolhouses and I took those designs, took screenshots, and then I put them in a paint studio and mocked up kind of a basic structure and shape. And then we'll come in here and I built the outside and then I started to lay out walls on the inside here. Now this one you'll notice is similar, but it is in fact different than the next one. Because the next one actually has more space on the floor, more square footage. And I'll show you how I did that too. But this is kind of just the rough shell. Oh, yeah, so I use these, they're structure blocks, to help move this building over to the other side, which is what I've been doing is it's a nightmare sometimes to copy, especially huge builds like that first iteration over. It could take quite a while to move everything. But I'll get rid of that so it's not as distracting. But it eventually, I took and got this structure all made. And then as you can see, I moved it. And what I did is now we're on to the final build, which you guys have been seeing, where it's kind of the final iteration. I think this is how it's going to stay. I'm really happy with how this has turned out. And one thing I'd like to do, I don't know how I want to do this. I'll probably have to move this. And if you guys have any suggestions on how to move these quicker than with the structure blocks, please let me know, because it does take a terribly long time. But as you can see, I've actually, to get more square footage, lifted it up off the ground. I've added, well, we can calculate. This here is the layer that's on the ground over there, as you can see from those blocks there. So I've lifted it a total, 2, 3, 4. I've lifted it 4 blocks, which lets me put another floor in here, which is exactly what I wanted. And as you can see, I took and copied that, shrunk it down, so I could have it on this build. Now, I'd like to, and I'm not sure how I could do this, but I'd like to make this rounded so it kind of curves out and down instead of having the straight lines. So if you'd have any recommendations on that, I'd love to hear that too. But I've added these walkways, front, back, gym side. Here's the back one here. And now we get into the inside, where you guys have seen a few bits and bobs of it. So inside here, I have, this was in the last one too, but I did add these more windows on the front to help bring in some more natural light, because it is kind of dark in here. That's like an old schoolhouse, it's a little darker, but this is the cafeteria. I think I've been saying it wrong. I think I said cafeteria the first time too. Well, I know now. But I wanted to make a second story viewing area. I don't really have an explanation as to why, but I thought it would be nice. And I might change this out for some glass railing. But I think it would be a nice little addition. So, you saw me build this in an episode, I think. I think this is the staircase. But there's the stairs. I have since added a basement, which I don't think I showed you guys yet. Here's the basement part. It's kind of empty. I haven't laid out the floor or anything. But what I have done is I got the staircase, and over here I have some closets marked out. And over here as well I have locker rooms, which I will show you those as we go up to the next floor and check out the gym. But over here, and there's 2 doors to this, there's that one down there, and then there's this one over here. This here is a pool room. Now, I don't know if I'm a fan of this design, and it will probably change. That's why I didn't show the building of it. But if I do change it, I will record it for you. But what I've done here is I've just dug out the ground, put these quartz blocks and quartz slabs as the main pool bit. And then I have the wood deck, that staircases, these little lights. It's a simpler build, but I don't know. I want to know, what do you think? Should I do this style of pool, where I have a shallow and a deep, or should I take and redo it and have it more like a modern pool, like what you would see in a hotel of sorts, or like in a newer type of school? Because I can do that. There's enough room to do that in here. And maybe I will. We'll have to wait and see. But I guess with that, that's the basement done. So let's head on up. And as I'm showing this to you guys, this isn't all completed either. I am going to take this stone brick, as you see I started, but I gotta finish going around here, the outer perimeter. But on that note, we're on the ground floor, as I'm calling it. Now this is elevated, as you may remember, off the ground. But it's not underground, as like the last layer that we were in. Now here's the gym. I know you saw this briefly in one of my episodes, as I was finishing up, I think, that side of the bleachers. And it's not complete yet. I gotta add hoops and stuff still for the basketballs. But this is kind of how the gym looks. And I think this is gonna stay. I'm pretty happy with this. We have up here, which I will show you from the other floor as well, I guess another viewing spot. So if you're not down here, or if you're students, as the game is something we're going on, you can view out these windows. I noticed this in a few modern high schools that have been built on the east coast of the US and kind of southern too. Well, they'll have these windows, not usually up a floor, but on the ground floor looking into the gym. I don't know if it's like a security thing or if it's purely just for design, but I kind of like it, and I wanted to put it in this build somehow. So that's my kind of depiction of it. Now, like I promised, over here are the locker rooms. Two separate doors. Come in. You got this main central staircase type area where it separates the boys' locker room from the girls' locker room. And then down here, this is the pool right across. But you also have another locker room and another locker room. So I kind of like this design. I don't know if it'll stay, but for how it turned out, I am kind of happy with it. So it might stick around. Now here, I don't remember if I showed you the entire build process, but I remember showing you this part here, this layer. But all I've done here is just take stairs and blocks. This is a full block. Now I've kind of made, I call it a molding, but it kind of slopes the whole roof in from the floor above to kind of hide the seams. Here, drinking fountain, I have those scattered about. And then all of these little, well, there's no more here, but they're classrooms. This will be for lockers. Another little classroom. More classroom. And those, I have this floor pretty much figured out, I think. Now what I've been working on off camera is up here, where I am starting to build this top, almost top floor. There's another floor above it which has had nothing done to it. But this will be this floor. There'll be some more classrooms here, as you can tell. I have them layered out. But I'm going to do up here and on the floor above this crown molding brick stuff, this brick molding. It's not complete. I don't know how to blend it into that quite yet, but it will look good no matter what, I think. And this will lap around instead of having the pathway like on the floors below on the outside. This one has it on the innermost part of the floor structure. And then from here, this is what it looks like from those viewing windows peering into the gym. Not too shabby. Huge glass roof here. Got railing, so you can look through. And I'll show you that too. You can also see the gym from that floor. Here's these staircases, and like I was mentioning in the structure over there, the last large one, this is kind of the we can call it railing that I've done for these steps, where it's always a minimum half a block. This one's a full block, this one's a full block, but then half a block full block with these pillars. Kind of what I've just settled on. I like the look and shape of it. But as you can see, crown molding, well, brick molding, we'll call it brick molding, all the way through here. That railing design comes up even through here. Now this isn't complete, and you'll probably see this in a future episode. I might do a time-lapse type episode soon, where it's just me laying out the floor structure and getting it all prepared. But here, I'd like to replace this with glass railing, because then you can peer down. It's not a good view, but you can see into the gym. Maybe. I don't know yet. We'll have to see how that goes. But with that, I kinda think that's it. I don't think I have any more for you guys here. Granted, there will be more soon. I will be uploading a lot more of this build. And hopefully it looks good when it's all done and said. Oh, looky there. But I think that's all I wanted to share with you guys today in this episode. It's coming along slowly, but it's coming along. And there are plenty more builds too that are in the works. As you maybe if you've looked back at some of my older videos, you may have seen one of the Ferris wheel that is coming again. I just haven't figured out how I want the world to be complete and flow yet. Now for here, as you can tell, I guess I do want to add this before I end the video, is that I am going to be taking this brick and adding it over the roof line here of the gym. And then I'll be doing slabs for this part. Mostly just to cover this, because I kind of imagine this being like a drywall of sorts. So I didn't like how it looked just on the outside of the structure. I know you'll never see it, but for me, I want to cover it. So I will be adding that. I probably won't record that part because that's just me filling it all in. But I hope you guys kind of like this build because I'm really enjoying it. And with that, might make more of these in the future. We'll have to see. But I guess this is goodbye for now. So, see ya. Roll my end screen. Flash it on.